feel better connected with the receivers?
Yeah, I mean, I think on offense, we had half the attempts of passes. So week one, we had 42 pass attempts, just the way the game went. This week, we only had 21 pass attempts. I ended up being 14 of 21, which is like 60-some%. 2 drops, so could have been 16 of 21. Also had 2 throwaways. So when we're looking at 18 out of 21, I could have been 1 interception, 2 touchdowns. I think I played good, but I mean, I don't think it was great. But I mean, played good enough to win the game. We had a lot of success running the ball. The first half we only had 4 drives and 22 plays, and then we needed so only 23 plays. So it was kind of a slow game for us on offense, but I thought I played good enough to win the game. But I think the player of the game for sure was Anthony Grant.
A lot of pressers, you kind of have a lot of numbers and stats memorized. Is that something you look at after every game? It's just, and it's something
No, I mean, no, honestly, I mean, during at halftime, I knew, I was like, how many plays did we have? I really like to watch the clock, just because the clock management is important at quarterback. And then sometimes at halftime, I'll ask, the offensive staff, like, how many pass attempts did we have, how many rushing attempts? And they usually tell me. But right after the game, they usually tell us the stat line. I just usually have it memorized. Like I said, we had 62 plays of total offense. In the first half, I only ran 23, so I knew those for sure just coming off the field right after the game. But I usually don't look at the stats. I think how you play is more important than stat lines.
You've thrown to Trey quite a bit, which probably means he's open quite a bit. So what does he do? Maybe how does the scheme help him to get open downfield?
Trey gets open because, like I said, our scheme, first and foremost, we can scheme him open, but Trey is just a really good player. I mean, he's very fast. He's explosive. He's had a lot of big plays for us down the field. Even just throwing him a short bubble pass, and he can go 10, 15 yards. So he does a good job with his skill set and his speed. And we like to we're still continuing to push Trey on and off the field. We're pushing him every day at practice as we're pushing all these guys. So I think the biggest positive that we had for Trey and for the rest of the receivers is that we came out of the game with 0 drops at receiver. So that was big time for us.
Is there he doesn't know how good he could be? Is that true of Trey? That like he hasn't maybe reached his full potential?
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting better every week. He's going to continue to get better this year and throughout his career, as the rest of us will. But yeah, Trey's a guy that he doesn't. I don't think he realizes that he can be as good as. I don't think he knows how good he can be. But he's still working to get better, and he has a lot of work to do. Like I said, the rest of us as well. So I mean, we're still 18 to 22, 23-year-olds, and we haven't reached our full potential yet. So Trey's getting better, and I've seen a lot of growth and progress from him, and he'll continue to get better. But the third down that we had, 3rd and 15, we went up and caught that pass for a big gain. That was a really big play for Trey.
Casey, a lot of you guys are working together for the first time. How much of a factor has that been so far for you?
I mean, the coaches do a good job of putting guys in position to be successful, and they rotate guys at receiver, at tight end, and running back. So I just have to go through my reads and I really just read the defense, and I usually throw the ball where the ball needs to go for that specific defense, and I just have to trust guys to make plays and be in the right spot at the right time. And but obviously, like I said after the game, we're still kind of getting used to each other and practicing the game, and we're still finding our groove and our rotation. So it doesn't affect me that much, but we're definitely still kind of learning on the fly.
Is that same, he doesn't know how good he can be mentality, say the same thing for like Anthony Grant and what he did last year?
Yeah, I mean, AG is he's always just trying to work and focus on each rep at a time, but a lot of times we don't take a step back to look at the big picture. Anthony's he's probably very blessed and thankful to be in this position that he's in. I heard he broke records for the first Nebraska running back to have that many rushing yards in the first 2 games, and a year ago he was at JUCO. So I mean, I don't think a lot of guys. Right now we're just trying to focus on the game plan and focus on winning the game each week at a time. But there's probably a lot of players in our locker room, including me, that don't know how good you can be yet because you're not looking at the big picture, not trying to look ahead. You're just trying to focus on the moment right now. But Anthony Grant is another one of those players for sure.
When you say you're still pushing Trey, what are you pushing him toward? What more are you guys trying to get out of him?
I mean, more catches, more effort. If we call 21 pass plays, we want him to be open on 21 pass plays. We're pushing everybody just to try to be perfect on every rep at practice, because we know in the game mistakes are going to happen and the defense is going to make some plays, and Those guys are on scholarship too across the ball, and those guys also are going to make plays. But we're just trying to chase perfection at practice and just trying to chase him to win his one-on-one battles, whether that's running by somebody on a go ball or if it's going up in the air and making the catch. And we're pushing Trey and all these guys to run perfect routes, get to the exact route depth and read the coverages and convert the routes, the way they're supposed to be ran. So Trey's doing a great job, but, we're trying to push everybody to be better, including me. So I appreciate it. Coach Whipple, he pushes me hard every day, no matter if it's a walkthrough or a scout team period or whatever the case may be. So we're still pushing everybody across the board just to try to have perfect practice and perfect reps.
What's Coach Whipple like the day after? Do you enjoy those, just back and forth with the guy who's been in it as long as he has? What's that like?
Yeah, during the game, he's really good. He's good at communicating and just asking me what I saw. If I come off and if he saw something different, he'll say, hey, did you see this guy or this receiver? Did you see that defender? But usually he does a good job of communicating in a very good tone. And then after the game, he'll talk to me briefly. And then when I come in on Sundays, we watch the film together one-on-one, and then we also watch the film as an offense. And I go in his office a lot and we talk. But he's a really good communicator. I think that's good for a quarterback and the play caller to have good communication. Frost has great communication as well, asking me during the game, after the game, what I see. And the day after the game, Coach Whipple has been very positive, and he hasn't, like I said, the guys have probably told you from now on, the coaches have been real positive and encouraging, and nothing is personal. So on Sundays, we're just trying to watch the film and get better. If I miss a read or if I miss a throw, it's all on the film, and we're all in the meeting room, so the whole offense knows I missed that throw or I missed that read, or if a guy misses a block or if a guy drops a pass. There's no hiding, there's no secrets. We're not trying to attack anybody and take it personal. So I think the coaches do a good job of just making it known that it's not personal and that we're just trying to get better.
How do you like to lead during a game, like when a tackle misses a block, gives up a sack? What's your approach within the game? With
Yeah,
your guy as a
I usually don't have to say anything. If I feel like that we have multiple plays where we have missed assignments or missed blocks, then I'll go talk to the offensive line on the sideline and kind of be encouraging, give them a pep talk and say, or sometimes before the play I'll be like, if you guys give me 2 to 3 seconds on this play, or we're going to have a big play, if you lock in and block this, it's going to be a touchdown or it's going to be a big gain. So I kind of alert them sometimes before the play, but during the sideline, like I said, I just try to be poised and be positive. I've learned that that's probably my best asset to this offense and to this team, is just be encouraging, staying even keeled, being calm, and providing a lot of poise. But unfortunately, when you play quarterback, if you make a mistake, everybody sees it in the stadium, right? And everybody can, because you're touching the ball every play. And then if you play offensive line or you're blocking for a run or a pass play, if you make a mistake, either the running back's getting killed or the quarterback's getting killed. So, they may have 75 plays in a game and get beat once or twice. So you have a couple of mistakes, but it shows up. It's more obvious because the quarterback ends up on the ground or the running back ends up on the ground taking those hits. So I try to be positive. I understand there's going to be mistakes, and we just try to move on and play the next play.
Take one more. Your targets through 2 games are pretty spread around, pretty diversified. Is that a focus for you to keep your defense guessing, or is it as simple as you're going to the open guy?
Yeah, I'm usually just going through my reads and my progressions. There's a very few plays in the game where you have multiple guys that are open. Sometimes, depending on the coverage they roll to, there's multiple guys that can get the ball. But I usually go to the first read and my first instinct. If it's a man coverage and if it's like a one-on-one battle, I may, pre-snap trying to kind of predetermine best matchup, best skill set, depending on route and leverage. But, I usually just base it on the coverage and the matchup. I usually don't look out and say, I have this guy. But, Trey, Marcus, Isaiah, Alante, Brody, Belt, all those guys do a good job. Omar, he did a good job coming in this past week. So the receivers, when they run routes, they always feel like they're open. So usually after the play, I come back and I'll hear 2 or 3 other guys be like, you could have came to me on this play, I was wide open. But at the end of the day, if you get completions and you're moving the ball, that's all that matters. So sometimes Omar will catch a comeback in practice during the game, and then Marcus or Trey will come back and say, hey, if you would have looked at me, I was wide open. So, but they don't always understand the coverages and, how to see flat defenders and kind of throwing away from rotation and blitz and stuff like that. So I usually just try to throw to the open guy.
You guys have been very good coming out of the start of the game and how the halftime? Why
Yeah.
success?
That's a big emphasis for us. In the off season, we really emphasize starting fast and finishing. And the defense got the best of us sometimes in training camp and in spring ball. We would drive the field, but we wouldn't always finish the drive with a touchdown or points. So Northwestern and this last week against North Dakota is very positive notes for us to be able to start the game with a touchdown drive and then come out of halftime with a touchdown drive. So I think any offense wants to score to start the game and also coming out of halftime. So it was really big for us. And in this past game, the best positive that came from it was that we finished the game. You know, we scored 31 points in the second half, and we scored, I think, 17 points in the fourth quarter. So it was big for us to finish on offense.
Frost said
Scott,
that,
Last one, please.
Frost said that there's gonna be more first team versus first team in practice moving forward. How beneficial will that be for y'all?
Yeah, that'll help us a lot because it'll give us some more game speed, live reps. And so going against the first team defense, good on good is the best that you're going to get. You know, you're going best on offense versus the best on defense, and guys are playing full speed. It really helps me as a quarterback being able to see coverages and see receivers and DBs running at full speed. You know, they're running at over 20 miles per hour usually, so that's big for me. And then that'll help our offensive line and running backs be able to get live looks at, the box and kind of executing inside the box. So I think it'll be good for our whole team, but it definitely helps me as a quarterback be able to make throws at game reps where the receivers and the running backs and DBs are coming out of their breaks and stuff like that. Everything's a little bit faster when it's good on good, as opposed to going against scouts or maybe doing like a 7-on-7 period where it's not as fast and you're not going to get hit. So.